Waiting for a couple people here. So we get a couple people logged on here, and we'll start in. We got a couple people here. A few people log in. I'll get started here. Chat's open. Chat thing figured out now. Anybody can chat. You just gotta subscribe, have your own channel, whatever. And once we get another person or two, I'm gonna start. You know, it's the pissed off Patriot, though. Got a lot to cover, including Fauci won't take his own so-called vaccine. He's pushing on everyone else. He's still yet to get it. All right, y'all. Once this shuts up behind me. All right, y'all. It's the pissed off Patriot. I got a bunch of stuff to tell you tonight. There's all kind of dumb stuff going on. It's ridiculous what's really, really going on in this country. First, I'm going to go to the Gateway Pundit first and read this article that came from an interview with Representative Devin Nunes. He joined Maria Bicharoma or something on Sunday Morning Futures earlier today. So this is what Representative Devin Nunes said. I think the American people now see it, Maria. You have an election here where just a few counties in the United States of America and the big cities that are all run by Democrats and the left, in the state of California, which is under one-party control, they essentially elected a guy who ran the first campaign ever out of a basement. So when you go back into history, we don't have to go back very far. This is very reminiscent of the old Soviet Union, where they just take these old decrepit leaders, they put them up there, and then they have the people underneath underneath them that would actually run and be their leaders. Now, this is what Devin Nunes said. Let me see if I can't cast. I don't know if this is the interview here or not. But yeah, I mean, it is reminiscent of through an election, and rig everything. Let's see if I can't cast this up on the TV here.
Senator, she never meets with Republicans. And in fact, this is someone who essentially Obama had picked her to run. Obama and his team had picked her to run. And then she floundered. She fell flat. She was going to get last place in Iowa. And
here, listen to this now. You going to cast for me? Yeah. Let's watch some of this. I don't know if it's going to work or not. If it does, no, next week I'm about to get some new gear in here. So everything will be right on the screen. I won't even have to flip back and forth like this. Don't look like it's going to work. Definitely don't want to play for me. But yeah, so basically what he was telling you was like, hey, people, wake up, look out the window, because this election they just ran against you was like something that Hitler did back when the Nazis were in control, slaying Jews. That's basically what he's telling you. Hey, if we don't get shit together, motherfucker, it's just going to keep going and going and going and going right down the fucking tube. And if you're going to ride along with it, you can go ahead and do that. But I'm standing up. I'm not dealing with this dumb shit. I mean, this is right on Gateway Pundit. You can go check his website out. It's like got all the date news all the time. Listen to this. It's revealed that simple math shows Biden claims 13 million more votes than there were eligible. voters who voted in the 2020 election. So there's 13 million more votes than there are actual eligible voters in the country. And 13 million is a lot. That could change a lot of an election. You know what I mean? Think about it. Over a widespread area, 13 million votes, that could change a lot. Here's what I've been screaming the whole time, and this is the whole way across the country. Overdose deaths far outspace COVID-19 deaths. No, and liberal utopia of San Francisco. If you think it's just San Francisco, it's every small town across America. Every town right now is being ravaged by drugs, okay? And these lowlifes all behind the scenes that are collecting their paychecks, sitting behind a desk, they all know everything that's going on in your small town, where that's going on. They all know it and don't do shit about it. All the rest of shit that they know that's going to get paid for in the long run, where someone's going to go pay their fines instead of go to jail so they can go to work the next day. Yeah, that's the way the system's rigged. So it says FBI Director Christopher Wray has been hiding his connections to a Russian energy company likely connected to Ukraine. Okay, here's another guy that's hiding connections. Everybody probably knows about it. We all know they're tainted, and we're still letting them sit there. If we're not going to stand up and hold these people accountable, our government's just going to get laughed at. The whole way across the country right now, you got people waving, or across the world, not the country, across the world now, different nations are flying our flag, screaming that they got support for us. Because why? We're the only free country on this fucking planet, and no one's going to fucking take that from us. They're not going to. Giuliani, it's a never-ending battle. Oh yeah, look at this. It says, "Wow, YouTube removes video of Trump lawyers opening statement at Senate committee hearing." Listen, people, if you think that's craziness, I got 14 subscribers, like 14, 15 subscribers right now, dude. I put an hour video out the other night, and they took away over half of it. I went from 58 minutes down to 26 minutes. They actually let me publish to YouTube. So if you don't think censorship's real, it is the whole way to the bottom. I'm talking from the top to the biggest news companies behind the scenes, the whole way to the bottom. Someone like me starting out, they're censoring it all, okay? Later on tonight, I'm going to actually sit down and watch what they all cut out of it. They only actually, it's like 34 minutes or something is all they actually let me broadcast. The rest of it, they cut it all out. They like literally took it down because of what I'm screaming and what I'm talking about while I'm live. I mean, it's craziness. So, let me go back here to the Gateway Pundit and see what else they got up. And the reason I like the Gateway Pundit is because it's like back channel news and it ain't biased. It's telling you the stories. Open them up and read it. Take the time to actually get the info, because we're at war, people. This is an info war. If you don't know what's going on out there, they're going to lead you right into a gate, give you a big old inoculation in the arm, and about 6 months later, you'll probably be dead. Certified fraudulent results. This is very reminiscent of the old Soviet Union. We went over that somewhere else. So Trump, I guess he made a tweet. They're talking about his tweet here. President Trump tweets out martial law equals fake news. And that's the truth. They're going to keep trying to shove it down your throats that Joe Biden's your president, and he's not. I don't know. Anybody hear about this big party Trump's about to hold in Washington? I guess everybody's invited. I guess he's telling everybody to come there. He might announce something serious, like he's going to take all these people to jail. That's what I hope happens. If some of these people don't start going to jail, I guess I'll have to start taking them. I don't know. It's not right. I know if I did half the shit they were talking about, I'd already been in jail. Let's go over here to Breitbart, see what's up over here. Oh yeah. So this is Senator Rand Paul. Let's see what his article in with Breitbart News says all about. So Senator Rand Paul told Breitbart News on Saturday that mask mandates, ostensibly or however you say that, issued for public health purposes, are all about submission, which he's telling the truth. All they want you to do is say, okay, they told me to put a mask on, but put a mask on. Fuck that. I don't wear a mask anywhere I go. I'm not wearing a mask. And you try to force one on me, then we're really going to have problems. So, offering his remarks in an interview with Breitbart News, editor-in-chief Alex Morrow at Turning Point USA's Student Action Summit in West Palm Beach, Florida. Marlowe said this: "You have a terrific speech, and you started with something that I wasn't anticipating, but I absolutely loved. And that's some actual science about the mask mandate. You broke it down in a very clear way. Talk to us about it." So this is what he said. He said, or who is this? Rand Paul. So Paul says, "It'd be one thing if we were told you have to give up your liberty, you have to give up your freedom. We're going to save your life. But what if we have to give up all your freedoms and they're wrong on the science?" Which they are wrong. If you prove to me one time somewhere where you pick a box up, go to Lowe's, go to your local Lowe's right now, buy a fucking box of masks, look at the side of it, and you tell me on there, you name one place it says it'll stop something. Even if it's something about the flu, please, somewhere. What? So what? I mean, I wear one of them doing drywall people and still masks. You got to do this to do that. It's not good because you're just going to follow with everything they do. They're about to give out vaccines and you'll be right in line. The first one there probably to take that vaccine. It's sad, very, very sad. And I pray for people like you because a lot of people are being tugged. It's hard to explain how people can led down a path being told the wrong things, know they're wrong, and still believe it. It's hard for me to wrap my head around how people are still falling for stuff like that. I mean, a mask. Come on, people. I can take that mask, spray hairspray in the air, and still smell it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You're going to tell me that's going to stop me from some disease that's less worse than the flu? It's ridiculous. So, on Politico right here. Congressional leaders finally reached a deal, I guess, here recently on this COVID stimulus deal, which will mean probably more money for everyone. So take them for what you can get because they keep taking from you, you know. Let's go in and read about this. I got any. Oh no, I don't even need to read about it. Here we go. Let me pull it up here. Congressional leaders on Sunday clinched a COVID stimulus deal after days of hard-fought negotiations, but Americans will have to wait at least a little longer to get much-needed relief. Of course, we got to wait, but I'm sure all these companies that these people from the Democrats and stuff that are involved with this, I'm sure they got cut a check today, you know. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell announced Sunday evening that negotiators had finalized $900 billion coronavirus aid package after breaking a multi-day stalemate over the Federal Reserve's lending powers. At long last, we have a bipartisan breakthrough in the country as needed, McConnell said on the Senate floor. I hope we can do this as promptly as possible, and that's his quotes. But with legislative text still yet to be released, a House vote on final passage has slipped to Monday. So they're voting on it, but they're saying they all agreed to it, I guess. So it's not passed yet. It's being, I guess, voted on tomorrow. So House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, Democrat from Maryland, informed House Democrats on a private conference call the Senate is expected to take up the bill quickly afterward, though McConnell declined to offer a timeline. So I think probably Trump's checking that over too, I'd say. I'd hope. In the meantime, with current government funding expiring at midnight, the House will vote Sunday evening on a one-day stopgap funding bill, and on Monday it will consider a week-long spending patch to buy time for the Senate to pass the relief bill, and for the federal government to print it and finalize it for President Donald Trump's signature. The $900 billion package will ride alongside a bill to fund the government through next September. Yeah, so somewhere in that governmental funding, okay, they passed a stimulus package to make you happy, to make you realize, hey, you're about to get some money. Hey, you're about to get some money from the government, and we don't want you to pay attention to this government spending package we're going to put through too. That's what they're doing, and that's how they're attacking Trump with it. Think about it. The Democrats come with something. They want all this spending on the side. They get it out in public media to where everything's going to be settled, okay? So people are thinking they're going to get a check, right? So now Trump's in the position of having to deal with all these pissed off people because they want to check, right? And signing this bill or whatever it is. And when he signs it, it's also going to open up a big gateway for all these corrupt politicians to line their pocket. I mean, that's the way it's going. You don't see it. You got to see it. See it for what it is, because it's exactly what's going on. See here, where was that? I lost my spot. I was at. Oh, right here. So it says we need to be able to read it, said Senator James Lanford, a Republican in Oklahoma, of the massive rescue and spending package. You're literally voting on something no one has read right at the point. So yeah, I'm not a fan of that. So a lot of these senators have never read it. The paperwork ain't out there for everybody to read. The Democrats and all these people and the higher ups of the political standing and came to an agreement, right, behind doors with this big agreement, but nobody's read the paperwork that's about to be passed through. I mean, don't it sound like bullshit to you? Everything seems like a bunch of bullshit to me. I feel like we're just being bullshitted along because they're trying to cover their tracks. And it's going on all day, every day, in every political office, you know. The 11th hour breakthrough comes after Congress struggled for months to deliver another relief package, even as the health crisis worsened. I mean, people, if you think it worsened, it really didn't. I mean, they're telling you now that there's states that are coming out that are saying that people were shot and killed. The proof of death was actually a gunshot wound. And just because they had COVID or the antibodies in their blood of COVID, it was a COVID-related death. So that gun was COVID. You understand what I'm saying? It's craziness. It's completely crazy. So here on Politico, Fauci, the Institute of Health or whatever, you have to get COVID vaccine despite rule developing it. Top infectious disease doctor waits on shot despite being ready to go. You know why he's waiting? Because the shit ain't tested. I mean, it takes a normal vaccine 10 to 15 years to go through all the FDA stuff, the preclinical trials, everything that's going on there when they're looking at a vaccine. So you got a disease that's floating around. They got a vaccine they're trying to make. They're going to test it, whether it's on rats, monkeys, whatever it is. Then people are going to test it. And if you don't believe that they're going to test it, and just put it out on the public, they have had to have known about this thing or this vaccine for a while. I think they know what it's going to do. I mean, if you read up, if you go right now on Google and you type in anything about the COVID-19 vaccine, like side effects and anything like that, take yourself a list of COVID-19 side effects and hold it beside the fucking vaccines side effects and tell me what's different. I'll tell you what's different. The COVID-19 vaccine, the needle, not me. Here's this doctor. This Art News. It was put up today, December 20th, 2020. Dr. Deborah Birx visited family despite own travel warning, and I honestly think her own family called her out on this. As COVID, don't mark my words for that. It might not have been her, but I'm pretty sure it might have been her family that started questioning her about it. As COVID-19 cases skyrocketed before the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, Dr. Deborah Birx, coordinator of the White House coronavirus response, warned Americans to be vigilant and limit celebrations of your immediate household. The day after Thanksgiving, she traveled to one of her vacation properties on Fenwick Island in Delaware. She was accompanied by 3 generations of her family from 2 households. Birx, her husband, Paige, Ref, a daughter, son-in-law, and 2 young grandchildren were present. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has asked Americans not to travel over the holidays and discourages indoor activity involving members of different households. People who do not currently live in your live in your housing unit, such as college students who are returning home from school for the holidays, should be considered part of different households. Even in Brooks's everyday life, there are challenges meeting the standards. She and her husband have a home in Washington. She also has a home in nearby Potomac, Maryland, where her elderly parents and her daughter and family live, and where Burks visits intermittently. In addition, the children's other grandmother, who is 77, also regularly travels to the Potomac house and returns to the 92-year-old husband near Baltimore. Let me see who called her out here real quick. After the Associated Press raised questions about her Thanksgiving weekend travels, Burks acknowledged in a statement that she went to her Delaware property. She declined to be interviewed. She insisted the property of the roughly 50-hour visit was to deal with the winterization of the property before potential sale, something she says previously hadn't had time to do because of her busy schedule. I want to meet a household. Worker through. Yeah. Right here. Nope. All right here. It says Kathleen Flynn, whose brother is married to Burks' daughter, who lives in the Potomac house. Okay, so this lady, Dr. Burks, this Kathleen Flynn, whose brother is married to Burks' daughter, who lives in the Potomac house, one of her houses there, right? She cavalierly violated her own guidance. So yeah, somebody actually that's married into this lady's family actually called her out. Actually put her on the spot about it. So, all right, let's find something else to read here. Went through that. So President Trump, this is more about the President Trump tweets out about martial law and fake news. So on Saturday, the internet was abuzz with reports was going to impose martial law to expose the historic 2020 election fraud. Honestly, he'd be the only person I'd trust doing it. Somebody's going to actually impose martial law. He'd probably be the only one I maybe trust doing it. He seems like he's an actual true American. This came after news broke the president met with attorney Sidney Powell in the Oval Office Friday evening. President Trump discussed naming Powell as special counsel and to investigate massive Democrat voter fraud that took place in the 2020 election. General Michael Flynn also joined Sidney Powell on Friday. Deploying the U.S. military was reportedly raised in the meeting, but nixed by Trump's advisors. Trump set the record straight on Saturday night. Is that what this is here? This doesn't mean President Trump is throwing in a towel. So this is saying President Trump has several options left to expose the historic fraud in the election. Let's go through a couple of these here that they got up. President Trump can still confiscate and examine the controversial and suspecting voting machines. So they still apparently have not went and picked them all up. I mean, if I found out there was voter fraud and that's what's going on, pick the fucking machines up too. President Trump can encourage the AWL Justice Department to investigate and prosecute those who committed fraud. We know that. Mark Zuckerberg could be investigated for his role in shady election practices. Some of the stuff that guy doing. I mean, he made one of the greatest social platforms in modern times, and you took all that shit and started being evil, you scumbag. You should go away. You're trash, scum, dirt of the earth. President Trump can bring in the inventor of the QR code, expert Jovan Hutton Pulitzer, to conduct his scan on the completed ballots. President Trump can order an investigation of the USPS trailers full of ballots that left New York for battleground state Pennsylvania. It's still puzzling me as to why a lot of people don't think that this is weird. Ballots were in a USPS truck and traveled from one state to another. If you can't see something's going on, I mean, come on. Trump can investigate and indict organizers of the Atlanta suitcase scandal. And Trump needs to investigate the SolarWinds breach and if there is a connection to the 2020 election. Now that's major shit. The SolarWinds, like this breach, this hacking in of our stuff. I mean, these people were literally inside our nuclear weapons. And it's crazy. So here's Yahoo News trying to tell you through a doctor that how great this vaccine is. If y'all were thinking that these people that are higher up got all this money, just went out one day and say, hey, I'm going to get a COVID vaccine, even though it ain't been tested, don't sit and keep lying to yourself. Honestly, these people ain't taking that thing. There is no way. COVID-19 is not even worse as the flu. It's not as bad as the flu. Okay? It's ridiculous. They're also saying that actual to the general public, it could be late as June. It could be late as June until everybody's actually able to get a vaccine. They're already being shipped around. They're going to sit in refrigerators until June, till the population can really, actually get them around enough that the population's getting them. But I don't want one. They can keep it and give it to someone else, give it to someone's family dog, whatever they want. I don't care. I want it. If they all feel they need it, I don't want it. Let's see what else I got up here. I don't even know how far I am in right now. About a half hour. Here. This is on Yahoo News too. This is about Trump, what they think he's going to do. Trump campaign will again ask the United States High Court to upend election results. This is by Jan Wolf, December 2020 on Yahoo News. President Trump's campaign said on Sunday it would again ask the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn results from the November 3rd Republicans thrown in jail. I mean, this is craziness, people. It's a war, and he's laying the footwork to expose every one of these people. The candidate needs 270 electoral college votes to win the White House. Biden won 306. Believe it. Congress will count the electoral votes on January 6th, and Biden will take office on January 20th. Now, people, Congress will count the electoral votes on January 6th. Okay? This is the same time Trump has invited everybody to Washington. So, sort of think about that. Trump has made unsubstantiated claims of the widespread electoral fraud and has tried but failed to overturn Biden's victory. Now, this is Yahoo News telling you this, so don't believe them saying he's failed because he's exposing them at every corner.